Yeah, you might forgive our viewers, Jeannie, who don't follow Indian politics closely for jumping up in their seats and saying, what do you mean India just held state elections amid this COVID calamity? Well, they did. And it wasn't a one-day election, Jeannie. These were elections spread out, and not just in West Bengal, which you just talked about, but in altogether in 5 states and a region and a federal territory, held over a month. Most of the votes were cast in March. But they continued in a lot of constituencies into April, the voting itself. And this is exactly the time when we started to see this horrific, catastrophic spike in COVID cases across India, which now has a day after day setting world records, either in new cases or in numbers of deaths or in both together. Now, Narendra Modi, the prime minister, is being accused by a lot of people, not just his critics. You don't have to be a Modi critic to accuse him of this, of putting his own personal political ambitions above the pandemic. It began, according to a Reuters report this weekend, basically that he ignored scientists' warnings as early as March that there was going to be a new variant that could lead to this exact type of surge. Modi and his home minister as well, Amit Shah, hit the campaign trail up and down the country, but especially in West Bengal, the most populous state, the opposition stronghold there, really campaigning hard, campaigning without masks, campaigning without social distancing. These political campaigns up and down the country at a time, like I said, cases were spiking, combined with a lot of religious gatherings, big religious festivals, which drew hundreds of thousands of Indians together in close proximity, like I said, mostly without masks and mostly with zero social distancing. So yes, Narendra Modi is being blamed basically for promoting a campaign that was conducive to exactly catastrophe and the type of horror we're right now seeing throughout India.
Doug, let's talk a bit more specifically about the election. Narendra Modi is thought to be one of India's most powerful prime ministers in years. How bad was this outcome for him?
Look, in West Bengal, a rare political defeat. It's a big political setback for him. Like I said, it's a state of 90 million. It's the most populous single state in India. And it has a very charismatic native daughter, Mamata Banerjee, who you quoted earlier, and she is a very staunch Modi critic. And Modi had campaigned extremely hard there, hoping to really perhaps overtake her party and grab the control of that state. You know, she's India's only chief female minister of any Indian state. It was going to be a very tough task, but Modi made it harder for himself in this state. I will say that, it's worth noting he did pick up a lot of seats in the state, and altogether his BJP party, which is a right-wing Hindu nationalist party, increasingly authoritarian as well, is dominant across India in most of its states, holding parliamentary majorities. So it's not in threat by a long shot. West Bengal was a treasured prize which he lost. There were there were elections in 3 other states, 2 of which had predictable results, Kerala and Tamil Nadu, and also in Assam. That's a northeast stronghold, which the BJP did win. There's one other area, Puducherry, which is a former French colony on India's east coast, and that also was not a great score for the BJP party. So altogether, really not seeing the gains he had hoped for in areas where he might have hoped, and West Bengal really a big political defeat, even if he's going to spin it otherwise.